Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of our Raw Reaction series, and specifically the Arsenal News Show. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. A brand new week has begun. It's new car week. I mean, new car week is always exciting. In fact, I've not had a new car in I'll have to go back to like 2017 to think about the last time I got a new car. I had this current car for a while, but I haven't had a car for about 2 weeks because I don't know if you've ever sold a car before, but I underestimated how quickly you can sell them. I literally put it up on the website and it went in 24 hours. I was a little bit stunned. It made me think maybe I put it up for too cheap. It used to be like on FIFA Ultimate Team when you put a player up for a low price and they'd go within a second. It felt a little bit like that. It was ridiculous. But it's new car week, and I'm hoping that that's going to be good, basically, because not having a car for 2 weeks has been absolutely painful. But anyway, I'm going off on a complete tangent and telling you way too much about my life. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're well. Let's jump into the chat box and say good morning. Good morning to Matt. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing good, mate. Monday poll at £22 million. Has Leno been value for money? Oh, that is a hell of a question. And seeing as you're so keen on it, Matt, you know what? I'll even give it to you. Has Leno been value for money? At 22 million. There you go. Yes or no? We'll probably change the poll during the Q&A, but during the first section, that's what our poll's going to be this morning. Good morning to Sarvi, good morning to Olu, to Paul, to Stevie, to Social. Good morning, guys. Simon, Bolu, Bruce? Bruce, good morning to you, mate. Rich, Morgie, Marcus, Jose, Afsar, G. Norburn, good morning, guys. Dapo, Colin, Answer. We've got so many more of you as well. Reese, Eli, Canoe, Inga, Juno, Stephen, Carl, good morning. All of you guys. Hope you're doing good and well. Captain Caramello joining us from Down Under. Fantastic stuff. A nice evening show for you, unlike the early one for everybody else. Good morning, guys. Hope you're all good. Amir says, hey Todd, 3 a.m. here in Toronto, pulling an all-nighter before an exam, hoping to smash it, just like how Arsenal was smashing it this season under Mikel. Big up. Amir, best of luck with your exam, mate. I hope it goes fantastically well. Cramming works. I hate to tell people this. Your parents were wrong. Cramming really does work. You're much more likely to remember things that you've checked in the last 24 hours than before that. So cramming's great. Revise before that, sure. But cramming is great. It works. It absolutely works. It's the reason why I got... Well, the less said about that, better. Anyway, let's go on to today's stories. I'll be live at 10 a.m. over on the Arsenal Way, joined by our fantastic guests, as always, Chris and Bailey. We'll be back to have a chat about the weekend's events and a lot more as well. And a big thank you to everybody, because we hit 31,000 subscribers yesterday. I did a show with James from AFTV, and during that show, which was a very popular show, in fact, there was over 1,000 people tuning in live, which was amazing. All for James, obviously, but it was great, and we hit 31,000 subs. So thank you. If you are one of those very new people, let us know in the chat box as well that you are one of our new listeners. We do these 8 a.m. shows every day, pretty much, 6 out of 7 days a week, and chat all about Arsenal and answer your questions as well. But thank you for the continued support, guys. Absolute amazing community that we've got here. We keep growing. Now, Dawson was sent off for West Ham in the Chelsea-West Ham game. Annoyingly, West Ham couldn't hold on to the 0-0. It would have been really helpful in regards to dragging Chelsea into a top four race. They play Manchester United next to Chelsea. Hopefully, I say hopefully, I'd actually quite like Man United to win that game. It would draw Chelsea into a little bit more of a scrap. But unfortunately, West Ham couldn't hold on to it. However, Dawson getting sent off does create quite a problem for West Ham, because they'll be without any senior centre-back, orthodox centre-back, that is, for the game against Arsenal. Dawson suspended, Zuma is out. They've had so many players. Diop is out injured as well. So many players have been dropping out injured, and they are going to be in a very, very difficult position in terms of who they select. Dawson will be available for the game against Frankfurt on Thursday, but seeing what they might pick for the Sunday game is going to be very, very interesting indeed. So I do look forward to seeing what the West Ham lineup's going to be. Of course, this is all set up for them to just absolutely pull off a defensive masterclass. You know that's going to happen now, because they haven't got a single centre-back fit or available. So that's going to happen. But fingers crossed it doesn't. But you can just see it. You can just see it happening, can't you? You can just see it happening. this picture has circulated. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to try and guess, if you haven't already seen this picture, who that is wearing an Arsenal shirt. I know this isn't the best if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, but it's a blonde-haired Scandinavian striker, a very young one at the time, wearing an Arsenal shirt. That should narrow down your picks for you. Terry with the first comment. It is indeed Erling Haaland wearing an Arsenal shirt as a teenager. Circulated on social media yesterday and obviously sparked the rumour saying, oh, wow, he's an Arsenal fan. I don't know if he is an Arsenal fan. I thought he was a Manchester City supporter from his dad playing there. Was it Man City or was it Man United? I think it was Man United, actually, now I think about it. But I thought he hated Man United because of what happened. I think it was Man City, though. No, it's not Sorloth, Dan. It's the other Norwegian striker. But yeah, it's confirmed, Michael says here. Haaland confirmed wearing the Arsenal shirt. Must be coming to Arsenal, but I just thought I'd throw that one in there. Been going around on social media yesterday. Very amusing indeed. Used to be an Arsenal fan. Good to see. Now, Mohamed Elneny did an interview, short one with Byron Adams, who talked about his future at the club, in which he said, if Arsenal say we want you, I don't think about leaving. It's my family for 6 years. I love this club. Look, I think that Elneny has been a brilliant servant to the club, a fantastic part of the squad, and you can't really complain too much about him. He gives you a very solid performance every time you call on him. Would you keep him? And this was going to be my question for the poll this morning. So we have a quick check on the poll about Leno. Yes. Wow, that's quite interesting. £22 million. I did just put £22, to be fair. 86% of you saying yes, 14% now saying no. But I'm going to ask you the question, would you keep Elneny for another year? I want to know your answer in the chat box. Would you keep Elneny for another year? Yes or no? Let's get that going in the chat box and see what you guys have to say about Elneny's future. For me, I think that there's nothing wrong with giving him a 1-year extension. We're in European football next season. We need a bigger squad. I would absolutely, if he's fine with being a squad player, fine with just being called upon when we need him, I would absolutely give him a 1-year contract. It's not even a question for me. It doesn't stop us from signing players. It doesn't stop us from seeing the likes of Charlie Patino being given chances, because he's not pressuring, he's not knocking on the manager's door saying, why am I not starting? He's part of the squad. He's part of the Arsenal family for me. He's been a brilliant servant. He won't go down as a club legend, but he certainly will go down as one of the committed Arsenal players that we've had at the club. And, he's genuinely one of those players I would give a testimonial at if he ever retired at Arsenal. Mohamed Elneny has been such a good servant to the team, and fair play to him, because if he's happy at Arsenal, if he's got that right mentality, why not? Why not have him in the club? So, yeah, Mohamed Elneny, I would give him an extension. I would absolutely do that. We're going to get a lot of your reactions to that Elneny news during the Q&A session, so make sure you keep your thoughts coming in on this story. Now, Gabriel Jesus has been spoken about by Pep Guardiola after their game, in which he says, I don't know what is going to happen, but he is a Man City player. When he has days like today, I am the happiest man in the world. It's still very open. I assume that performance against Watford, in which he scored 4 goals, probably added a little bit of value to him. Let's be real. A couple more £1 million went on the valuation after that performance. But he still seems to be going somewhere. I really think he seems to be going away from Manchester City this summer. Erling Haaland coming into Manchester City has a big, big impact on that. And City seem open to a sale. City don't tend to sell their players for any large amounts of money. They signed them for between 20 and 30 million pounds. If City can sell players for a profit, it helps them, and they don't tend to do that all that often. So I think they would be open to it. I think it's a deal that we should be looking to do. And I think that it's certainly something that we need to go for. Is go for someone like Gabriel Jesus. I think James spoke about it really, really well yesterday in our interview. There's part of the interview we talk about transfers. I think it's about 50 minutes in the show. And Gabriel Jesus, me and him certainly agreed, would be certainly a very fantastic player to get. Per, thank you so much for the donation, mate. I'm a realistic fan with high standards, but I respect your hard work and you being optimistic without being overly deluded. Keep it up. Thank you, Per, I think. That's really kind of you. Much appreciate the support of the kind words, some of them. And our final story of the day revolves around Tammy Abraham. The England striker and Roma striker is said to be a clear and high priority target of Arsenal, according to my colleague Chris Wheatley at Football.London. Did a story yesterday on this, and he is a player that Arsenal are certainly taking a look at. Whilst Chelsea can't do anything because of the sanctions in place, they can't actually, they can't get involved with it. They cannot get involved with this deal. And as I say, Chris Wheatley, my colleague, put out a tweet and a story yesterday in which he said the Football.London understands that Manchester City forward Gabriel Jesus and Roma frontman Tammy Abraham are among the shortlisted profiles who could arrive at the Emirates this summer. Jesus in particular remains open to leaving the current Premier League champions, with his representatives holding talks with Edu throughout the past few months. Former Chelsea forward Abraham has scored 15 goals in Italy this season and was previously the subject of inquiries from Arsenal in January. It's expected that the Gunners will focus on bringing in 2 marquee names this summer, although Football.London understands that Edu has not ruled out bringing in additional players on top of that. And that certainly seems to be the case. Look, Tammy and Jesus as 2 signings this summer I think would be really strong. A really strong kind of additions in the forward line. I think they add to, Tammy adds to the homegrown sector as well. I think he's a Premier League quality striker. I think he was unlucky at Chelsea actually not to get into those positions. I think Chelsea have made a huge error in letting Tammy go, bringing in Romelu Lukaku. I think Abraham in the right team, in the right setup would do well, but I think he's going to cost a hell of a lot of money. He's a player that we will focus on in the summer with our tactical breakdown series, and of course with all those strikers that we're linked to, we'll be breaking them all down after the season concludes. But it is a very interesting deal, a very interesting move about how much it would cost, because Chelsea have something like an £80 million buyback, but they can't activate it. So this is going to be fun. This is going to be a fun summer. I'm looking forward to it. I really am looking forward to seeing what happens. And that concludes all of today's stories. We are going to move on to the questions and the Q&A section. So if you do have any questions that you'd like to throw into the chat box, please get them in there now, and we'll be going through as many of them as possible after this quick break. Okay, I did say I wanted to get some reaction to that Elneny news. In fact, let's have a quick check on the poll that we've just put up into the chat box. Currently, 84% of people saying they would give Mohamed Elneny another year. Gone down to 83% now. 17% saying no. Really interesting stuff. If you have voted on our poll, it's taken you 1 click to do that. It would take you just another click to drop a like on the video. So please show your support to the channel. It really does help us out. But 83% saying yes, they would keep Elneny for another year. 17% say no. Let's see what you guys are saying though in the chat box. I like it says yes. Sarvik says yes. Exhal says yes. Keep him. He is solid and very professional. I feel like this is hard to come by. IRL says, I'd keep him even if he's surplus and okay with it. Some people are worth keeping. Tis the Discuss says, sure, if he's happy to be a squad player, keep him. Ella says, yes, for a backup. Jacob says, hell yeah, keep him. Terry says, 1 year, yes. Matt G says, yes, I would. Olu saying, Elneny is an excellent 4th choice centre mid. Bit like James Milner. Tubb says, Mo isn't bad. We just need elite right now. Salu says, yes, we need his experience. Authentic saying, yes, good squad depth. But Ore is our first person in the chat to say, absolutely not. Does not want him in the team. Vincent says, I will keep him all day long. Terry says, 3 years, but 1 year. 3 years, no, but 1 year is fine. I think that we should be adopting that Chelsea model of only offering 1 year contracts to 30+ year old players. I think that's certainly something that we should be looking to integrate into the squad. J Dimes says, love Elneny's attitude, but it's time to move on. We've got to be ruthless. Kevin says, it's not often you find someone that's content just being a squad player, more experienced than most. Love it if he'd stay. Sarvik says he's a really good trainer and a good bloke, apparently. He's been so professional and so good for the squad as well. Apparently he's one of the most well-liked players in the group. Michael says, I'd keep Elneny. 1 year, that is. Humble character that's liked around the dressing room. Zana says, for a year, yes, but with his age, he would want a longer-term deal, which I would not be giving. I'm not sure he necessarily would. As he said, if Arsenal want him, he's happy to stay. If Arsenal give him a 1 year contract, I think he would sign it. I don't think there would be any issues in getting a 1-year contract from Elneny at all. Ollie says, Elneny is an excellent fourth choice centre mid. Bit like Milner, he doesn't complain, he's professional and brings experience and loves the club. Daniel says, Xhaka and Mo need to stay, end of story, even if they do end up being backups. Paul says, Elneny never complains and loves the club. Respect. And that is all of the thoughts that we've got. Well, there's a few more as well, but I wanted to move on to your questions as well. So let's go for some of your questions in the chat. Fung the Man says, hey, Tom, who would you go for from Everton if they go down? Good question, because, you know, Everton are looking even more likely. Burnley have really turned things around. What do we know about Sean Dyche? I mean, we complained about that, and yet it's really having an impact on them and their season after getting rid of Sean Dyche. So who would I go for from Everton? I mean, Gordon's the obvious one that stands out. I think Gordon's been absolutely excellent this season, really been their only standout performer of the campaign. But beyond that, you're struggling. You really are struggling. And I don't think any other players would have a chance at all to get into this Arsenal team, to be honest. So Gordon would probably be the only one I would pick. Jay says, Tom, if we beat West Ham and we have beat Man United and Chelsea, but we lost to Southampton, Brighton and Palace, what does this say about us going forward? I'm confused. Jay, I talked about this again with James last night. It was actually one of the first questions we asked. Why did we lose those 3 games and why did we win these 2 games? I think one of the reasons, obviously, is those 3 games that we lost, we were hit. We were hit really hard by the injury situation with Tierney dropping out, Partey then dropping out after Palace, Tomiyasu not being available the entire time, but because Tierney wasn't, we then had to play with Tavares or Xhaka there and Cedric. I think that really hit us in that moment. We'd had consistency up until that point. With an international break, came back, and all of a sudden both of our fullbacks were out, and Partey wasn't fully fit and then got injured in the Palace game. We had the hit of the confidence from the Palace game, and I think that bled into the Brighton fixture. I think we were really unlucky in the Brighton game. Look, we were the better team against both Brighton and Southampton. The Southampton game in particular, we've played worse than we played in that Southampton game and won. You know, arguably we played worse against Man United than we did against Southampton, and we somehow still won. It's a really strange one, that. So I think it's just a case of unluckiness. Obviously not having the resources available to us. Some bad mistakes by Arteta in regards to team selection, especially against Brighton. And the injuries, you know, they've cost us in those fixtures. And, you know, teams go through bad patches. We know that. Look at Spurs. They've lost to Brighton and then drawn to Brentford. They themselves are going through a little bit of a tough patch now. Chelsea, I know, they themselves have gone through a pretty tough patch. Losing to Brentford, losing to us, nearly drew against West Ham as well, losing to Real Madrid and getting knocked out of the Champions League. Teams do go through these patches. So I think it's pretty natural to have a little bit of a dip, and especially when we were hit by big injuries, a very, very close proximity to one another, I think that's definitely contributed. Samia says, Tom, one answer, are we qualifying? Yes. We're optimistic here, Samia. We're going to go with yes. David says, I'm not sure, but do you think we will sign, or we should sign, James Ward-Prowse? You know what? I really, really would. I'm really open to this. I actually think I'd prefer him to Tielemans, and that says something. I really like James Ward-Prowse. Sounds like, you know, need to put a Valentine's Day card in his his locker. But I really like James Ward-Prowse. I think he's absolutely a fantastic footballer, and I think we should really think about going for him. Really, really solid player, and a Premier League quality player at that as well. Elneny's like 27. No, he's not. Elneny's like 30. I'm sure Elneny's like 30. Let's have a quick check, because I'm sure he's like 30 years of age. He's 29, yeah, and he turns 30 in July. He's 30 in a couple of months, but he's 29 till he turns 30, because that's how it works. Don't forget that. Inga says, how many players do we need in a Champions League squad? In my opinion, we need 8. Now, Mikel Arteta has actually recently been quoted by Edu as wanting 22 players in the squad. In fact, the comments from Edu were, I've got the quotes here, if we can afford it financially and we don't have to do the turnaround in the squad that we've had to, what I want is 22 outfield players and 3 goalkeepers. A lot of things have to be put in place, and that takes time. So I'm expecting a busy summer. Very, very interesting there. Very, very interesting indeed. So 22 players is what they're targeting to have as a squad of senior players. That doesn't include the young players. That doesn't include the players they don't have to register. So that's going to be very, very interesting next season, because there's a number of players that are, that don't have to be registered still, that we are going to have to be thinking about using. I think that Bukayo Saka, I think you have to be 21 and over at the start of the year to register as a homegrown to count in the squad. So that's certainly going to be interesting about the players that we've got available to us. Let's go to Marcus, who says, are you, judges, Sophie, etc., going to be doing another summer tour? Could cover transfer news at the back of the season and raise money to give to Edu. Look, there are certainly plans to do another live show again. We had a lot of fun on Thursday night. It was a really fantastic experience, and we want to go bigger with it as well. There was a lot of interest from people. A lot of people turned up. It was a really great experience, and we think with more planning and more prep and more warning, we can make this a really fantastic show for people to come and watch. So, yeah, we absolutely have got plans to do another one. I would love to do a TGT one day. I've just got to get the front to be able to put myself out there and plan it and do it. Manu says, will you be checking out Feyenoord and Marseille? Beyond the obvious, I would love to see you check out Sinisterra. He's on 22 goals, 11 assists in 43 games. Reminds me a lot of Saka. Sinisterra has actually been linked with a move to Arsenal already this season. Only 22 years of age, has been doing fantastically well for Feyenoord this season. But yeah, 22 goals, 11 assists, 12 goals and 5 assists though in the Eredivisie. So certainly worth pointing out that he's got 5 goals and 3 assists in 9 Conference League games and 5 goals and 3 assists in the Conference League qualifying games. So that certainly did affect and gave him an extra 15 games on top of the league games to perform probably against sides that you'd expect Feyenoord to beat as well. But still scoring goals and getting assists. But I think that a Cody Gakpo for me is the one I look to more over a Sinisterra, to be honest. And Reece Nelson, of course, will be able to watch play against William Saliba in the Conference League very, very soon. Tulip says, genuinely very excited for the coming window. Have you been so excited before? I'm optimistic because Edu and co have proved to some level that they could really go and bring in players to the Emirates. I've never been more excited about a transfer window. If you remember and you've watched the show for a long time, one of the words that I've used a lot is intriguing about windows. The next window is really intriguing. I don't think the next window is intriguing. The next window is exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. I'm not going to sit here and say, be excited and all that bollocks. But, I am excited about what's going to happen this summer, just as the amount of unknowns there are. We could sign a player that's not even been linked to us yet. I think that's certainly something that we could see happen in the summer as well. Axel says, given Chelsea's unclear future, which player would you try and snatch from them? I would love Gallagher, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, or Pulisic for our Xhaka position. Pulisic for the Xhaka position. Mount. Yeah, Mount would be mine. Mount's probably my favourite Chelsea player. Which is possible to have. But yeah, Mount has to be the one for me. Amaro says, hi Tom, have you stopped giggling about the win yet? Because I haven't. Don't want to get too carried away, but I can't help it, especially when I see the pick of Bruno and Ødegaard after the penalty miss. Yeah, I'm never going to stop giggling until I have a reason not to. And right now, I have reason to giggle. A lot of reasons to giggle, especially when Man United are the ones that are losing at their expense. It's fantastic to see. Colin says, with sanctions on Chelsea and Roman not able to add funds, could they run out of money and suffer a points deduction? I don't think so. I think that they will eventually change ownership and things will steady themselves again, but they won't be able to invest anywhere near as much as they did under Roman, and I think that they will still suffer from that. But I don't think a points deduction will happen. Matthew says, also, Chelsea and Man United were porous defensively. Saints and Brighton defended deep and snuffed us out. And that's the challenge that we're going to come up against. And that's the challenge that Spurs are going to come up against when they play teams this season. When we play when we play West Ham, I think we should be able to, hit them on the counter when they attack, and we should be able to find spaces. Same for Spurs when they attack us, although I hope that they don't sit deep, because if they do, we'll play into their hands and probably lose that game. But we need to make sure that we're savvy and smart enough to deal with what Spurs can throw at us. They will need to win that game. Well, actually, no. Let's put it a different way. They will need to... The pressure will be more on them, hopefully, by that point. If we win our next 2 games against West Ham and Leeds, and they lose against Liverpool, we could get top 4 at Spurs. That's the situation that we could be in when we go to Spurs, that we could actually clinch the top 4 spot at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. What a dream scenario that could be if we're able to beat West Ham and beat Leeds and they lose one of their 2 games against Leicester and Liverpool. we can clinch top 4 there. That's an amazing thing to think about. And they will have to win it because they know that you would think that we'd get at least a draw against one of Newcastle or Everton. It's going to be very, very interesting if it goes to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and Arsenal can actually get a top 4 place at that stadium. That would be quite the memorable moment. And I hope that that's what happens. Oh, that'd be great. How great would that be? That would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. Saksham says, Tom, have you heard about Conte going to PSG? Tottenham in the mud? Yes, I have. It's not surprising at all. We knew this was going to happen. We knew these stories would come out. Oh, I hope. Oh, I really, really hope that he goes because it would just be hilarious, absolutely hilarious, and I hope that it happens. We won the league at White Hart Lane, exactly. It wouldn't be the same as that. It's so different, very, very different. I'm not even going to try and say it's anything close to that kind of feeling, but you know, claiming a top 4 place at Spurs would be quite the story. Lynn says, does that mean that we would have to win or draw? We would have to win, Lynn, as far as I'm aware. If I'm looking at the table right now, we're 2 points ahead with 5 games to go. So if we win our next 2 games, we'll be on 66 points with 2 games to go. If Spurs win just one of their next 2 games, they'll be on 61 points. So therefore, if we then beat Spurs, we'll be 8 points ahead of them with 2 games to go. They would not be able to catch us. If we drew that game, they would be on 62 points and we would be on 67 points, so they could still catch us because we could lose the last 2 games. And the goal difference is in Spurs' favour. So I actually think we'd probably still have to win one of our last 2 games. We couldn't just afford to draw either of the last 2 and lose one of them as well. So, yeah, we can. If we win our next 3 games and Spurs lose, then it's a done deal. Mate, that would be amazing. I can't get over how amazing that would be. It also means that I wouldn't have to worry about watching the football when I'm at the wedding on the last day of the season as well. Vishal says, actually, Tom, don't be too optimistic. Their Liverpool fixture, I believe, is sandwiched between their Champions League fixtures. I don't think that it is. Is it? Liverpool play this week. Let's have a quick check. Liverpool fixtures. It's after. So Liverpool play Villarreal on Tuesday before they play Tottenham on Saturday. They're not going to rest. They're in a title race. And they play Newcastle and then they play Spurs. They aren't going to rest players. They've got a great squad in terms of depth. Hopefully they could put Villarreal to bed in the first leg. I say hopefully. I don't really want Liverpool winning the Champions League. Would I rather Villarreal win that? I think I would, yeah. I don't have a vendetta against Emery, so, I'd rather Villarreal knock them out. But, yeah. The only thing about Villarreal actually getting to the final of a Champions League is that you can tell just how irritating it would be on socials from the perspective of people that would be like, look what Emery's done. That's the only frustration. But I don't want Liverpool to win. Why would I want Liverpool to get to the final or get to another point where they're winning a trophy? I'd rather Villarreal got there. Plus, I love Spanish football, so seeing Villarreal get there. And let's not be salty about this. Emery is brilliant with Spanish clubs. He's so good in cup competitions. He beat us, beat Manchester United. Has beaten Liverpool before, I think. No, he hasn't beat Liverpool before. What am I thinking? Sevilla beat Liverpool. Was he the manager when they beat Liverpool? I'm pretty sure he was. Sevilla beat Liverpool Europa League final. Yes, he absolutely was. I'm sure he was the manager in that game. So there you go. It's just unbelievable what he's done. So yeah, he has with Sevilla. I thought so. Yeah, absolutely. It can happen. He's just excellent with Spanish teams. He just knows what he's doing. He can get his ideas across. He can play the way he wants to play. The only issue I think is that Gerard Moreno is out, unfortunately, for Villarreal, which is a big loss for them. I hope they deal with that as best they can. But we can't be wanting Liverpool to get to the final of the Champions League. We just can't be wanting that at all. Salu says, beat West Ham, Leeds, Spurs and Everton, and we are in the Champions League. We have to win, we have to win 4 games, and Spurs has to be one of them, and we've definitely done it. But if we win the next 3 and Spurs lose one of the next 2, who knows? If Spurs draw one of their next 2 games, what happens then? Let's think about that. So if Spurs win and draw, they'll be on 62 points. If we then win our next 2 games, we'll be on 66 points. and then we can go 7 points clear. Yeah, so if Spurs even draw one of their next 2 games, and we win our next 2 games, we can still go and win it at Spurs. Incredible. Anyway, I feel like I am tempting fate way too much this morning, and I need to shut up. So let's have a quick check on the poll from the Elneny standpoint. 82% of 460 votes has said they would keep Elneny. 18% says no. What's mad is we got 466 votes on the poll and only 150 likes. Please, guys, show your support to the channel. We do these every single day, getting up early to make these shows. It really would be appreciated if you could drop a like on the channel. Carl says, Tom, I've become a TC bore. I've been selling your show to so many Gooners that I've had to start on the Spurs fans. Don't start on the Spurs fans, Carl. What are you doing? What is going on with my screen? Wow, this is going crazy. It's like a light show. Hold on. Let's just bring this down. That should sort out the lighting. There we go. Don't know what was going on with the screen. Jesus. Big Fat Suzlaki says, I like Elneny, but I am not sure whether having a pivot will happen again. A lone 6 is the way to go, and that can't be done with Mo. Wale says, so many votes on the poll, but not enough likes. Come on, people, support the channel. Thanks, Wale. That's really, really kind of you. Billy says, Real Madrid to win it, 1 draw away to win the league, and they can rest players for the second leg. I think they can beat City. I think City are going to win that at a canter. At a canton, if you like. Shreya says, thoughts on Paqueta? I like him a lot. It would be a really, really solid signing. Great for that Martin Ødegaard role. But maybe we could form the double central midfield, attacking midfield roles with Ødegaard and Paqueta. Could work. Can also play as a centre forward, a false 9, if you will. Could play there too. Lynn says, but like you said, the goal difference could be the problem. So we must keep scoring. Absolutely. Amara says, will you be doing a watch along for the Amazon doc? Not a watch along, but I'm definitely going to do a reaction, maybe even a breakdown of each episode, because that gives us something to do after the season. So I might do a breakdown of each of the episodes, and we'll do a reaction show after them. The frustration with these series is obviously they come out as one giant. They don't come out in 2 parts. I think they've released the first half and the second half. But I would love to do a breakdown series on each of the episodes, just to kind of see how you'd react to that episode 1 breakdown and so on. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Simon says, only heard you bring up Mateus Nunes once. Your thoughts on him, please? Yeah, we talked about him ages ago, and then James brought him up last night as well. Exciting young player. I don't know enough about him, honestly, to say he'd be the right player for us. But he's very, very highly rated. Anyway, we're going to wrap. When does the show come out? I don't actually know, Answer. At the end of the season, usually. There'll be trailers for it before the end of the season, I'm sure. But it won't be out until the end of the season fully. Let's round things off. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Over 700 of you are watching. Please do drop a like on the video if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. As I say, we do these every single morning at 8 a.m, 6 out of 7 days a week. And I'll be on the live Arsenal Lounge this evening with Mo and Shaheen and Lev at 8 p.m. So make sure you join us over there. I'll also be live at 10 a.m. So just under an hour and a half's time over on the Arsenal Way. Link to the channel is in the description. And then tomorrow, hopefully got a fun show of you. Another good guest for you to check out. Someone that you're very, very familiar with. So I'm looking forward to that. See you soon, guys. Have a fantastic day. And as always, up the Arsenal.